One of the things that I miss a lot from All-Stars is the SP Burst. It was a neat reward for those who collected 3 festival cards or party cards of one character and put it on a team. If you were to activate your SP Burst and you had those 3 members on your team, you would get a special animation for Go, each one having their own animation, background, voice line, and it's something that we no longer have today, and I thought that was quite a shame. So today, in this video, I would like to go over my personal favorite SP Burst that it was in Love Live Squall Festival All-Stars. So of course this is going to be based on my personal bias, but I definitely am looking at a combination of things. And, you know, if you don't agree, that's fine. I will have a poll at the end where you can go ahead and vote on your favorites. So let's start with my first honorable mention. I did want to mention Setsuna's. I like Setsuna's. It's a little simple, but it does look pretty clean. I think they could have done a little more cool movements, but, you know, I thought it could be a little better. In 10th place, I have Dai's animation. So for her SP Burst, as we know, the big thing is that we get to see a fan opening, and that's the main party animation, but it has this very traditional-esque kind of feeling to it. Of course, I think this is something that is fitting for Dai, but overall, I just think this looks nice, and I like the fact that, you know, the fan actually opens instead of just statically just zooming in, and overall, I think this is a pretty nice looking SP animation, so that's why I gave it 10th. It's not my favorite, but I think this is definitely a nice one. In 9th place, I have Shiriko's. The primary thing about Shiriko's is mainly, I think it's just, it looks nice. We got bamboo that kind of comes up in the side. We got some nice flowers on the bamboo as well. We also have the, I'm assuming that's a boat that comes in and has waves over there. Overall, it looks nice. I don't know if there's anything that's really thematic or maybe that's just going over my head. But we got a pretty nice one that isn't boring to look at, so that's why I gave it 9th place. So Mari gets a pretty fun one. As you can see, it is a bunch of stars, and yes, that kind of is her symbol. We get a start of the SP Burst, where we got a sniper scope with the sides zooming in on the target and locking on, and when she locks on, she shoots with her finger gun and we get an explosion of stars. I think that's a pretty fun one, honestly. I don't know if this is strictly kind of Mari's thing, why it's locking on her kind of thing. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And yeah, I know her symbol are stars, and that looks nice, especially with the explosion of stars. But it could have been a little bit more interesting than just stars. But overall, I think this is a fun one and something that I do like from Mari. For 7th, I have Yoshiko, or should I say Yohane, with her animation. And this one definitely seems to be fitting. She gets the magic summoning circle in the background, as we often see her doing that, and it spins, which I think looks really nice. We also have the feathers kind of flying out from the fallen angel Yohane. Her voice line is Gira, which, as far as I can tell, means Gilliam. So I guess that's, I don't know, I just figured it would have been something a little bit more iconic than Giran. But I guess Johanna means John, so what? I guess that's something I should expect. So I don't know. I was hoping to expect something a little bit more like I'm Fallen or something like that. But instead we get a short one. So I'm not crazy about that part. But overall, it looks nice. They could probably have a little bit more few elements to make it even more cool when the magic circle came out. But overall, I think this is a pretty solid one. For 6th, I put Kanta, and I do like hers, but I feel like it could be a little better in certain parts. Thematically, it fits. We got the moon that, of course, we see in Mahan's star. She literally stands atop it. She likes sleeping. You see the clouds. You see the sheep. You get to see the stars. It's night. All of that works very well. The things that I'm not crazy about is A, her voice line, which is Gambaru yo, which I'm pretty sure literally someone else says that. So it's A, not even unique. And B, it's kind of like, well, what does that have to do with this scene? Do your best. You're about to go to sleep. So I'm not crazy about that voice line either. In terms of the animation, I thought it would have been really cool if we had the moon kind of moving in parabola. As you know, as we see the moon rises. I thought, well, why don't we have the moon quickly rising like it's nighttime or something like that. Maybe a little bit more night sea elements. That's the few things that I think that could have made this even better. So I do like it, but I did have to lower it a little bit because I feel like there's some few elements that just weren't executed as well as I hoped.
愛してるよ
Cracking into the top 5, I have Eyes, and I gotta say, I don't know why, but I do really like this one, and there's probably two main reasons why. First and foremost, I just think it's a fun movement that she does that is very Eye-esque as she poses, but on top of that, her voice line just works so well. She says "Eye stereo," which of course has "I" in her name. She does eye puns, and I do generally like the eye puns, but of course she had to have it in this voice line, and it just works very, very well. As for the actual animations, we got a bunch of the elements that really mirror what she is, which is like a gyaro, I think is what it's called, and they like doing makeup and trying to look very fashionable, which of course is very fitting for Ai. I'm not crazy about the animation. I think the ones before probably a little better, but I really did like the line a lot, and for some reason I just like watching this one a lot. So 5th place it is.
心を込めて
So in 4th place we have Umi, and her SP animation is not about to see her Umi, but rather this is focusing on the fact that she was in the archery club. I think it would have been better to have a voice line literally saying "love, arrow, shoot," which some of us like having her say, but instead she says something about your heart. I couldn't fully understand it, which as you can see she's shooting a heart, and you know, love, arrow, shoot, you're shooting a heart, and on top of that, if you look at what comes out of her hand, we get to see hearts coming out and kind of a heart explosion. So this definitely does look really nice. If you especially look at this, we get to see the arrow coming in, the heart exploding, and some blue flowers in the background. I just think this looks really nice, and I don't know if it's the most interesting to look at, especially for other people, because it's just basically a heart, an arrow, and flowers. And maybe I like it a lot because it's blue, and I like blue a lot. But I think this is a really nice one. I think I would give it even more points if it was literally "love, arrow, shoot," because I like when she says that line. But overall, I really do like this one.
どうかな
And in 3rd place, I have Nozomi. Nozomi has an explosion of cards as well as cards going across the top left and bottom right. And we also get to see the spiritual circle horoscope kind of deal with some stars in the background as well, and some cards just floating around. This one is a really nice animation. I like the fact there's cards everywhere, and it's a calling to her, you know, with her tarot cards, I think they were, or some kind of fortune telling cards, and I just think it overall looks really nice. Her voice is like "donkana" or something like that. I don't know if that has to do anything with spirituality, and you don't really hear Nozomi ever say that. I'm pretty sure in the anime. It's not like I was expecting like Washi Washi Max, so I mean, I don't know, but I don't know, Nozomi spiritual power might have worked better. I'm not entirely sure about the voice line, but at least this one looks really nice.
ハグしよう
So, Kanons, of course we expect the voice line to be Hagushio, and she does a hug motion, but how about the animation in the background? The animation in the background, especially when you slow down a lot, it looks pretty nice. We got a bunch of fishes spinning around in the circle behind her, and I just really like it. It looks really dang cool, especially when you get to slow it down and be able to watch a lot of the stuff that's going on there. We got a coloration of green and kind of a light blue. We also got sea stars and shells shooting out from the explosion as well. So overall, this one just looks really nice, and it is fitting for Kano, who, you know, almost basically lives in the water, where she often goes diving a lot. But the course question comes to me is, what does Hagushio have to do with the nice animation background? So it's kind of a little disconjoined a bit. We got Hagushio, but we also got the ocean, so they don't quite really match, but both individually are good and things that I expected. So I don't know what they could have done for a hug animation. Honestly, probably would have been worse. But overall, I think it still looks really nice. And for my favorite, I put Yos. And did we really have any question on what the voice line would be as well as the motion? Of course not. It's Yo. It had to be Yosura, or else there would be riots in the streets. And wow, this one looks nice, and the flavoring is just on point here. So of course we have her saying Yosuro and doing her iconic stance with Yosuro. but in the background what we get looks really nice as well. As we know, the Sailor Life is the one for Yo, and we get to see a lot of the elements that you expect on a boat. We have the steering wheel, whatever they call it, can't remember. We got some rope that you would see on a boat. We got some of the flags and banners that you would see on her as well. We get to see an anchor. We get to see a life preserver. And of course the coloring, which is, Yo's color thing, which is blue, which, yeah, I do like. But I also like how the wheel was spinning as if, you're turning on a boat as well, which brings some nice motion to it. But overall, this is just a complete package of what I was kind of expecting and hoping to get someone. It fits their theme, it has their iconic voice line, it has them doing motions that is very related, and overall just looks good and has a lot of elements in there to make a complete overall package. So for Yo, this was it. I don't really know how much you make it better. This is something that is done very, very well. Don't worry, I'm also going over subunits. I have my 2 honorable mentions coming first, Asuna being the first one. At least they didn't use flowers very much like the other ones. Instead, they used balloons. I don't know if that's necessarily better just because it's different, but at least we get to see the name Asuna in there, which, hey, I think that was nice to see. A lot of the subunits end up using flowers for their backgrounds, and Lily White was one of them. This one just happened to be my favorite. Why? Probably because it's blue and I liked it the way it looked the most, but they all look nice. This is just happened to be my favorite out of them. Beyond that, there isn't really anything crazy special. For third place, I do actually have Guilty Kiss, and yes, this one also has flowers too, but it's a little better than the other ones because I like the movement that they do. It's very thematic for Guilty Kiss to do what Yohane crosses her eyes with her fingers. And on top of that, we have some feathers flying out, so overall a little better than some of the other ones out there. And in second place, we have this single SP burst that has 4 people in it, and they kind of cluster them with 2 and 2, and the way they're kind of grouped just feels like it fits, and they're all friends being with each other. And of course in the background we got a bunch of sweets in there, which of course feels pretty thematic for Quartz, but I just kind of like the motions these girls do together, and they're kind of all in sync, and they all pose and do a cute pose. So I end up actually liking this one, and it feels a good amount different than the other ones that we get. So my personal favorite would be Diver Divas because this one is really, really nice. We have the 2 girls on the opposite sides of the screen slowly coming in and doing a little pose. One that has a lot more motions than some of the other ones, but when they do pose, we get to see something pretty nice. So of course the movement itself is a good amount here, but when they do pose, we get to see on both sides something that is related to the character. On Kanan's side, we get to see the moon, as well as the disco ball kind of in the middle, and the sun on Ai's side. That of course is related to the personalities and what kind of role they play. Kanan is the cool side, and that's why we see the blue and the moon. Well, Ai is the bright side, and that's going to be symbolized with the sun. And when you put it together, we get the sun and the moon, and we kind of get a nice disco ball and just a really cool animation and the visual effects. I just like this one a lot. I think this one was far beyond the expectations I had. And we get to see other songs that make some calls to the fact that Kanan's the moon and Ai is the sun. And the fact to have that in this animation, I just think works really well, but also looks really good as well. So this has definitely been my favorite by a mile for the subunit SB animations. So those were my selections for my favorite character SP bursts as well as the subunits. So of course, if you want to make your opinion heard, I have a poll, click the link in the description below, and you can go and vote just basically how I did mine. I have top 5 for characters, pick 1 through 5, 1 being your favorite, 5 being your 5th favorite, and for subunits, all you gotta do is your top 3, 1 for your favorite, and 2nd favorite for the 2nd favorite. So then once you're done, go ahead and click submit, and you'll be good to go. And then I'll make a video eventually on your guys' favorites. I will average it out and see if you guys agree with me or not. Yeah, there was a lot of cool things in All Stars, and this is definitely one of them. And it's a shame that we don't have this anymore, because it's definitely fun to see the girls do their own special animation, and it was a neat reward for collecting some of these cards. Getting some of these festival cards, of course, were good for the game because they were powerful, but we also got some cool outfits, and we got to see a fun little animation, which was really nice and a great touch in this game that gave more character to a bunch of these girls. And it's a shame that we can't do that anymore. It also sucks that Mia and Nanju never got it. We got their voice lines, but unfortunately we never got to see what that special animation in the background would be because they only got 2 cards, and I did collect them hoping a third would come, but the game got shut down, so too bad. So that's unfortunate. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, and I hope to catch you guys in another video soon.